Okay, in this video I'm going to look at a heat pump system that was used in this building right here. So this is going to be regarding a water-sourced heat pump system, not an air-sourced heat pump system. So normally what I see out there is air-sourced heat pump systems, but this one here is a water-based one, and the reason for that probably is because it's in a very cold climate area where an air-based one wouldn't really work very well. So I'll just start off by saying I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm an architectural technologist, so I coordinate mechanical systems with architecture, and I really enjoy looking through the mechanical drawings and trying to understand what's going on, and and then making sure that those systems are coordinated into the architectural. So I might get a few things wrong maybe, but I'm going to analyze these drawings as best I can and explain this system to you. So just a little summary of what the building is. We've got commercial on the main floor. So the main floor has, mercantile and restaurant uses. The second floor is all office use, and then the third to sixth floors are residential. And here's the rooftop mechanical units, and this is a bunch of outdoor mechanical unit stuff up here. And there is one level of parkade that you don't see here. There's a parkade underneath. Okay, so I'll start by pointing out where the heat pumps are in this building. So this is the parkade plan, and there are a couple of heat pumps in the parkade, though it's not the primary source of heating in the parkade. There's a makeup air unit right here, and there's air being drawn in here through the makeup air unit and being blown out into the parkade here. And then over on this end, there's an exhaust fan taking air out. So that's the primary source of heating in the parkade, but there is a couple of heat pumps in here, and they are right here and right here. And the reason for those would be because the ramp coming into the parkade is right here. So when the door opens, there'd be a very large volume of cold air coming in. So these would be here to quickly heat that air up in that parkade. All right, then on the main floor, we've got several units on the main floor. So you can see the demising walls here, 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 and here. And so each space has several fan coil, or not, sorry, several heat pumps in it. So, this space right here has 6 heat pumps in it. This little space here looks like it just has 1 heat pump in it, and then this one right here has 4, and this one has 4, and so on and so forth. So there's a bunch of heat pump systems in each of the commercial spaces on the main floor, and these things would be hung from the ceiling. This is the second level, the office floor. So this is the base building. So there's no demising walls in here yet. And the tenants would come in and do their TI work with this, but they did show actually some future potential demising walls here, it looks like. But nonetheless, it's just a big open space for the purposes of this drawing set. But they've put in a whole bunch of heat pumps throughout this space. So all these are the heat pumps, and I think the reason for that would be that um, you could have zones, basically, many zones within this floor to have separate thermostats for different zones and all that kind of stuff. So that when a tenant comes in or whatever, they've got a certain amount of fan or heat pumps in their space, and then let's say they have 3, then they could focus one to the boardroom and some other rooms, and another one could feed some offices and so on and so forth. So I think just having a whole bunch of heat pumps in there would just give some flexibility for future tenants. And then we get to the residential floor, and these would all be typical all the way up. So I'll just look at the one here, but in each residential suite, there is 1 heat pump unit. Okay, so again, this would be in the ceiling. So as an example, this here is the main entry door into the suite. And it looks like there's a laundry room here. It looks like a washer and dryer there. So the heat pump is there in the ceiling of that laundry room. This one here, it looks like it's in the ceiling of the bathroom. This one here is in the laundry room again. So anyways, every residential suite has 1 heat pump unit in it. in the ceiling. And so this plan here is levels 3, 4, and 5, and then level 6 has its own plan, probably because, why would this be different? The top floor would have some exhaust probably going straight out the roof, whereas those other floors probably have some exhaust elements going out the side walls. That's probably why there's a separate plan here, but nonetheless, as far as the heat pumps go, every suite has a heat pump, just like the lower floors. Okay, then we'll go up to the mechanical room here, and there's some boilers down here, which are related to the heat pump system, and there's just pumps. I don't know which ones for sure are related, but there's pumps that are required for the water loop that runs through this building. Okay, so let's go down one level from the mechanical room here and then see what's going on with this water loop from the mechanical room. Okay, so I'm going to the heating and cooling plan, and the mechanical room was somewhere around here. And we'll see right here, there's a couple of lines coming down. So 150 millimeter, I'm assuming that it stands for hot water supply and hot water return from the mechanical penthouse above. Okay, so there's two lines coming from above here, and one of them is the supply water line, and one of them is the return water line. And so these water lines then just run through the corridor of the floor, and then go to each heat pump unit in the suite. So as an example, here's the 100 diameter, at this point it's 100 diameter hot water return, and that appears to go this way and over here, and then there's actually a drop right here down the wall to the suites on the lower floor, but as well it looks like it's going, I guess it's this one here. There's that line going to that heat pump, and then here's the supply line right here. And again, the supply line goes down to other suites, but it's also tying into this corridor loop. And here it is going to this unit's heat pump, and all this stuff ties back through those risers from the mechanical room. Okay, so that happens on all the residential floors, and if we followed this around, you would just see that these lines attached to every heat pump in every suite. And before I leave this floor, I'll just point out right here, there's a note about 100 millimeter water lines to the second floor, and there's some lines to the main floor. So there's a couple of supply and return water lines to the main floor, and a couple of, I think they're pointing to the wrong spot here, probably those two there. A couple of supply and return water lines to the second floor. Oh, and there's the two to the parkade right there. So for those two heat pumps in the parkade, that's what these two are for. And then these two are for all the units on the main floor, and those two are all the units on the second floor. Okay, so on the second floor, let's just go to that spot there, and there's those two right there. And same idea. So there's a supply and return line that works its way through the corridor and goes into every, well, I was going to say suite, but it goes to every heat pump because the suites aren't in there yet. But basically the same kind of concept as the residential floors. And then if we go to the main floor, same idea. So here's those two lines from the mechanical room, and if we follow these lines, they're going to all the heat pumps in every commercial space here. And then if we follow those two lines, they're going down to that parkade level, which is right here. And then those water lines are running along the ceiling in the parkade and going to each one of those heat pumps right there. And then so going to the water source heat pump schematic, I'm not going to be able to pretend to read all this, but I can get the kind of the general idea of it and know that there's these hot water boilers. There's that B1 and B2 that we saw in the mechanical room. So they are part of this system. And as well, if we go over here, this right here is the dry cooler, the DC one. So that was the dry cooler that we saw on the roof. So that's part of this system as well. And so in a nutshell, really what this is a system where water is being circulated at a certain temperature through these water lines and going to the heat pumps, and then the heat pumps are using the water as a source, a starting point to create heat or extract heat back into the water line. So um, the heat pumps basically, I don't know how it works, but they can get heat, they can produce heat from this water, from these water lines, and they can reject heat as well. So whether you're in heating or cooling mode. So these heat pump systems could be used with like a geothermal loop or something like that as well. But for this building, it's landlocked and not near any oceans or lakes or anything or wells. That's in the middle of the city. So the starting point for the temperature of the water loop is still from boilers. And then I guess, in the hot months, you'd want the temperature of the water to still be this constant temperature that's useful for the heat pumps. And so that's what the dry cooler would be used for, to get that baseline temperature where the heat pumps work at the optimal efficiency for extracting and drawing the energy that they need from that water line system. Okay, and so now that, so these heat pumps then, let's just go to a suite. So these heat pumps basically are like, just consider them like your furnace and air conditioner. So the heat pumps in the suite, and it uses those water lines to generate hot or cold. Okay, so now the second part of this is that these heat pumps then generate this hot or cold, but you need to transfer that to air and then deliver that air into the space. So let's get into that in the next video.